and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the 36th Annual Firefighter of the Year Awards. My name is Doug Meehan, anchor at WCVB-TV in Boston. Today, our colors will be posted by the Worcester, Brockton, and Chelsea Fire Department Honor Guards. Please remain standing for the national anthem performed by Todd Angeli, followed by the invocation by Reverend Bruce Arbor, Chief Chaplain, Massachusetts Corps of Fire Chaplains.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
May we unite our hearts in a spirit of prayer. Lord, we come before you in this day, in the day of celebration in which we have this opportunity to not only celebrate, but show our gratitude for the men and women who have stepped forward beyond the call of duty to serve this great Commonwealth and the need of its citizens. We thank you for the blessing of this day, for the families and friends that are here to celebrate with them and who have supported them along the way. We ask your blessing upon this occasion, that we may truly lift up the accomplishments made and the gift that they gave for the sake of others. In your holy name, we ask all this. Amen.
Todd, Reverend Arbor, thank you very much. And also thank you to the Brockton, Greater Boston, Worcester and Chelsea Pipes and Drum Bands, and the Honor Guard from Worcester, Chelsea, and Brockton here today to help us kick off the 36th Annual Firefighter of the Year Awards. The awards reflect acts of outstanding heroism and service from June 20th of 2024 to June 30th of 2025. And they really are just a glimpse of what our firefighters do each and every day here in Massachusetts. Please be seated. I know that I speak for everyone on stage and as well as my colleagues over at Channel 5 when I say what an honor it is to recognize members of the Massachusetts Fire Service. Some of you may or may not know my own story. I'm from Massachusetts, a native of Cape Cod. My family lives here, and I have firefighters in my family that we're very proud of. And I might as well give a shout out to Captain Sean Meehan of the Milford Fire Department, who after 37 years will be retiring this January. So I wanted to thank my cousin for his service. I've been lucky to spend the majority of my news career here in this state. I've covered hundreds of fires and medical emergencies. I've witnessed the sheer fear in people's eyes when a family member or a neighbor is in danger. And then the determination in the first responders' eyes when they arrive to get to work. In all honesty, we don't cover many happy stories on the news. We do cover a few, but we don't get a lot or enough, perhaps. And more importantly, we don't often have the time to do a deep dive into an incident, and most stories probably only get 30 seconds to a minute. And that's why today is so special. Today, we get to celebrate all of you, our 2025 honorees that are on this stage behind me. These are important stories of courage, perseverance, and hope. To begin today's ceremony, it is my pleasure to introduce the Secretary of Public Safety and Security, Gina Kwan.
Thank you, Doug. It's an honor to stand with you this morning to recognize the distinguished honorees, their families, and members of the fire service from every corner of Massachusetts. Today is about you, about the moments when training, instinct, and courage come together to save lives. I want to begin by offering special appreciation to State Fire Marshal John Davin and the dedicated team at the Department of Fire Services. Through their work in training, fire prevention, public education, and emergency preparedness, DFS plays a vital role in keeping our community safe. They make sure firefighters have the tools, facilities, and support you need to meet evolving demands of an all-hazards profession. Recent events in the Commonwealth remind us just how essential that work is. From wildland fires to the devastating Gabriel House fire in Fall River, we have seen firefighters meet unprecedented challenges with remarkable skill. At a scene unlike anything in our state's modern history, firefighters drew on their physical and mental strength and technical training to save dozens of lives. Incidents like the Gabriel House fire, the recent trench collapse rescues in Yarmouth, and the calls reflected in today's awards show us the courage, skill, and quick thinking your job demands. Often with little warning and under intense pressure. These events underscore why investments in training and support is critical, not only for public safety, but for the firefighters who put themselves in harm's way to protect others. I'd also like to thank Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll for their steadfast commitment to the fire service. This fall, Governor Healy joined Marshal Davin to open the brand new burn building at the Bridgewater Fire Academy, a state-of-the-art facility that allows firefighters to train in realistic fire conditions. It's a powerful example of this administration's determination to ensure that firefighters at every level of experience are prepared for the conditions they'll encounter on the job. Today, we gather to honor extraordinary acts of courage, selflessness, and professionalism. We'll hear stories of firefighters who ran into burning buildings, pulled people from vehicles, rescued victims from icy waters, and turned what started as an ordinary tour or even an ordinary day off into a moment of life or death decision-making. The incidents vary: car crashes, wildfires, medical emergencies, ice rescues, structural collapses, fires in every kind of building in big cities and small towns, on duty and off. But they all share one defining truth. In each case, a firefighter chose someone else's safety over their own. That choice is the heart of the fire service, and is why we come together every year to recognize you. As we honor this year's recipients, we also recognize the families who stand behind them. You shoulder the worry when the alarms sound. You adapt to missed holidays, late dinners, and disrupted routines. Your strength and support make this calling possible, and we are deeply grateful. These awards also highlight how much the role of modern firefighters has expanded. You are not only fighting fires, you are responding to medical calls, hazmat incidents, high-angle and water rescues, severe weather events, and more. You are leaders in fire prevention, code enforcement, and community risk reduction. You teach children how to get out safely. You check smoke and CO alarms, and you help our most vulnerable neighbors prepare for emergencies. We recognize that this work is demanding, physically, mentally, and emotionally. As a Commonwealth, we have a responsibility to match your commitment with our own by investing in training and equipment, supporting your health and wellness, and doing everything we can to ensure that you get home safely at the end of every shift. That's why we're so committed to supporting the DFS cancer awareness, prevention, and early detection screening programs that continue to save firefighters' lives at no cost to you or your department. On behalf of the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security and all of Massachusetts, we thank you. You have our respect, our admiration, and our unending gratitude. We are immensely proud to stand alongside you today and celebrate your dedication, bravery, and sacrifice. Now, it is my privilege to introduce a steadfast advocate for the health, safety, and well-being of our firefighters and a true champion of public safety across the Commonwealth. Please join me in welcoming the Governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey.
Good morning, and thank you, Secretary Kwan, to Secretary Kwan, Deputy Secretary Terry, Fire Marshal Davin, District Attorney Early, Inspector General Shapiro, I see Chief Purcell, and President Rich McKinnon and the team, to all the members of the Heroic Awards Committee, to our colleagues in the state legislature who are there to make sure that we get the funding that we ask for. Representatives Arriaga, Gentile, Gregoire, Howard, Kushmerek, Lewis, Willette, Sylvia, and Hendricks, among others, and to Doug, who's been here year after year, and to all of you, incredible, awesome award winnees. It's really, really an honor to be with you here this morning in Worcester, once again, for the annual Firefighter of the Year Awards. I like that this event is in Worcester. It's the heart of the Commonwealth, the middle of the state, and more accessible to everybody and all the families and loved ones who traveled here. It also is the case that Worcester has a particular connection to acts of heroism and bravery and selflessness that represent and are emblematic of the very best of our firefighters. Today is also an important day in our state's calendar. It's Thanksgiving week, and I really want to wish my very best to all of you and your families and your loved ones this week. Thanksgiving, a time of gratitude. We're grateful for our loved ones, and we're also grateful for the men and women who are out there every single day, serving and protecting and keeping safe our families and our communities. And that's why I really like that this awards ceremony is falling during Thanksgiving week. Nobody does more to sacrifice and give of themselves than firefighters. Today's award winners, as you'll hear, are the proof of that. I want to thank each and every one of you for all you did in being recognized today. I also want to thank your families, because I know every time you step out or leave the house, you are leaving behind loved ones, people who care about you deeply, people who depend on you greatly. And so to all the family members, especially all the kids in the audience today, All of our firefighters are heroes, and I'm really glad that you get to see your loved ones recognized this morning. I also want to say this. America, Massachusetts, we've got the best firefighters in the country, the very best firefighters in the country. And that's no surprise. We've been doing it for a while. We had the first firehouse in the country. And ever since, men and women have been stepping up and delivering. Here's a statistic, too, that I want you to know. According to the United States Fire Administration, Massachusetts has the lowest risk of fire fatality in the country. The lowest risk. And here's the thing. Some of you know this, but here's the thing. That statistic, having the lowest risk of fire fatality, the greatest success in saving lives, these guys, our teams out there across the state every day, they're doing it amidst some of the most trying conditions. You think about the weather, you think about the ice, you think about the cold in our region. And how about this? We've got the oldest housing stock in the entire country. So really flammable stuff that these guys are dealing with. So I just think it's all the more remarkable. And what it really is a testament to the dedication of those who serve, of those who train, of those who teach, of those who mentor. Thank you all. As Secretary Kwan mentioned, I had an opportunity in September to celebrate the opening of our new barn building. And it's really important to me and to people in the state that we have a state-of-the-art training facility, this burn building. And it's also an investment that we're making in firefighting training and excellence. The training done there will save lives, and it will also save firefighter lives, which is very, very important to me. As governor, I've tried to do all I can to invest in firefighter safety. That's why we went through and did those cancer screenings. It's why we worked to get PFAS out of all the equipment. And it's why we're working to do as much as we can, including, I know, guys, staffing on the trucks. I know this is an issue around the country, but I know that your lives and civilian lives depend on having appropriate staffing levels. So I just want you to know that we as an administration are going to continue to work on these things. And today, I want you to know how grateful, on behalf of nearly 7 million residents of this great state, how grateful we are as a Commonwealth to all of you who serve. The Firefighter of the Year Award recognizes acts of heroism, bravery, and service that are truly remarkable. So congratulations to all nominees, congratulations to all award winners, and to every firefighter who puts on the gear and answers the call. Know that you and your families have my undying support for everything that you do. God bless our firefighters. God bless our first responders. God bless our families this holiday season and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and this great country. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Haley. At this time, we'd like to recognize the Heroic Awards Committee, who had the honor and, yes, the challenging task of reviewing all the nominations, and we do ask that you please hold your applause till the end, and please ask that you stand when you hear your name called. Deputy Secretary Susan Terry, State Fire Marshal John Davin, Chief Patrick Purcell, President of the Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts, Chief Michael Kelleher, immediate past President, Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts, Rich McKinnon Jr., President, Professional Firefighters of Massachusetts, Captain Michael McCullough, Massachusetts Call Volunteer Firefighters Association, Chief Brian Nardelli, First Vice President, Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts, and Paul Davies of the Tapper Club. I'd like to also recognize Deputy State Fire Marshal Maribel Fournier, Undersecretary Andrew Peck, Undersecretary Angela Davis, all of the legislators and city officials who are here today, and yes, a special thank you to our host city of Worcester. And sadly, before we begin the awards, we do like to take this moment to recognize two firefighters who lost their lives this past year. Brockton firefighter Jeffrey Albanese, 49 years old, suffered a cardiac arrest on December 9th of 2024 while responding to a call. Brockton firefighters resuscitated him but ultimately succumbed to his injuries on December 21st of 2024. He was a 24-year veteran of the department and also served in the Honor Guard. North Andover firefighter Jeff Deschennes, 54 years old, died on May 29th after experiencing a medical emergency. A 25-year veteran of the department, he was recognized at the Firefighter of the Year Awards back in 2019 for his response to the 2018 Merrimack Valley natural gas disaster. Firefighter Albanese and firefighter Deschennes both gave about a quarter of a century to protecting their communities. Their courage, service, and sacrifice define the heroism of the Massachusetts Fire Service. And as we recognize them, please also recognize the loved ones at home who cherish their memory. Please join me in a moment of silence in their honor. Thank you. All right, just a quick note. If you have never been to this event before, it is an emotional roller coaster. I have been brought to tears at this podium at the stories of heroism that unfolded throughout the past year. And I apologize in advance if I'm moved emotionally based on the bravery of these men and women on stage here. So we begin with the first award named after Norman Knight, the philanthropist and founder of the 100 Club. An extraordinarily successful businessman, it was his philanthropy that defined his legacy. He championed many causes, supporting nurses, survivors of domestic violence, and food pantries across the Commonwealth. But firefighters had a special place in his heart. Mr. Knight was a founding board member of the Massachusetts Fallen Firefighters Memorial at the State House. In 1995, he founded not one, but two hyperbaric chambers at Massachusetts Eye and Ear, which have gone to help hundreds of people. Since the 100 Club was formed in 1959, under Norman Knight, the club has provided over $20 million in financial support to fallen firefighters and first responders' families. Governor Healy, will you please step forward? I call to the stage from the Chicopee Fire Department, Captain Katie Collins Calbaugh. Captain Collins Calbaugh has served the Chicopee Fire Department for more than 20 years, and during that time she has been a passionate public advocate for fire safety, fire prevention, and fire protection in the crossroads of New England and across Western Mass. Captain Calbaugh has overseen the Student Awareness of Fire Education program for Chicopee since 2009. She's been a fire prevention officer since 2014, and she also serves as a fire investigator and the department's public information officer, giving her really a unique platform to pair breaking fire news with safety messaging to prevent them from happening again. Through the Department of Fire Services Safe and Senior Safe grants, Captain Calbaugh has helped to coordinate as many as 100 smoke and CO alarm installations each year. These alarms go to the people who need them the most, older adults in older homes, many of whom aren't able to purchase or install them on their own. And she's especially dedicated to sharing age-appropriate fire safety lessons with our youngest and oldest residents, so they grow into fire safety parents and grandparents. Whether she's on camera for an interview testifying to the City Council at the fire scene in the midnight hours or working with the Western Mass Safety and Fire Education Association to protect and inform residents and families. She is nothing less than a force of nature. The Commonwealth is pleased to present Captain Katie Collins Calbaugh with the 2025 Norman Knight Award for Excellence in Community Service. Quite the resume there, Captain. But now we will present the citations for meritorious conduct. Please welcome to the stage from the Stoneham Fire Department, Captain Rick Dara, Captain David Eastman, who, by the way, just returned from active deployment in Djibouti, Africa, Firefighter Chris Humber, Firefighter Daniel Kelleher, Firefighter Dominic DeSimone, Firefighter James McLaughlin Jr., Firefighter Miles Plant, and Firefighter Sean Devlin, unable to be here with us today. Stoneham firefighters assigned to Group 1 were working the 24-hour shift on November 14th and 15th of 2024 when they responded to a 3-alarm structure fire, including 2 second-alarm fires involving 2 civilian injuries and rescuing 1 trapped person. The first incident was reported at about 2:15 in the afternoon. It came in as a kitchen fire, but upon arrival, firefighters found a trapped occupant hanging out of a 3rd-floor window. Members of Group 1 immediately worked to help the person down the aerial ladder to safety, and in fact, it was just 6 minutes from the time of the alarm to the end of the successful rescue. 6 minutes. At about the same time, another occupant escaped the home with serious injuries. Firefighters then learning that a disabled person could be trapped up on the 3rd floor, where heavy smoke was now pushing out of the window. Firefighter Dominic DeSimone and Firefighter Miles Plant conducted an initial search through heavy smoke and heat so high that it melted a fire extinguisher cabinet. Fortunately, the missing occupant was at work, not in danger, but 16 residents were displaced before the fire was brought under control. The second fire was reported about 8 hours later by a resident who was able to smother the fire with towels before escaping with burn injuries. Thanks to those actions, Group 1 found it mostly extinguished. They did use a water can and thermal imaging camera to ensure the electrical fire hadn't spread into the walls and that no hot spots remained. Finally, in the early morning hours of November 15th, these same firefighters responded to a house fire to find heavy smoke pouring from the upper floor. When they entered the home, they were met with intense fire conditions up in the attic. While attempting to vent the roof, firefighter Chris Humber's foot and hand broke through the structure, prompting Captain David Eastman to order all crews to withdraw and shift to a defensive posture due to concerns about the building's integrity. With mutual aid, they were able to attack the fire from the outside, then re-enter to open the ceiling on the 2nd floor and fight the fire from below. By approximately 6:15 in the morning, all visible flames had been knocked down. In recognition of their rapid response and cohesive action in multiple scenarios across 16 hours, the Commonwealth is pleased to present these Stoneham firefighters with the 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. And yes, for those of you not from these parts, it is Stoneham and not Stoneham. Here's another one. It can be Canton or Canton. Please welcome from the Canton Fire Department, Firefighter Jonathan Buckley. On March 28th, Firefighter Jonathan Buckley was off duty in Brockton when he came upon a head-on motor vehicle collision. He was the first on scene and found a critically injured driver pinned inside one of the vehicles. Without hesitation and with no protective gear, Firefighter Buckley removed part of the windshield's weather stripping by hand and removed a section of glass to reach the victim, he could find no pulse. Unable to access the driver in any other way, firefighter Buckley climbed onto the vehicle's hood and began CPR, sustaining life-saving efforts until Brockton Fire and Brewster Ambulance arrived. The patient received 2 units of blood during transportation to the hospital and survived. For his quick thinking, decisive action, and life-saving skills while off-duty, the Commonwealth presents firefighter Jonathan Buckley with a 2025 Governor's Citation for meritorious conduct. Oh, and we're just getting started. I call to the stage from the Framingham Fire Department, Deputy Chief Jose Lopez de Victoria, Captain Robert Jones, Firefighter Alberto Martins, Firefighter Peter Matthew, and Firefighter Matthew Whalen. At about 3:30 in the morning on December 14th, 2024, Framingham Fire Department responded to a 6-story, 62-unit apartment building with smoke showing from the roof and fire showing in the rear. With the building's size and early morning hour and numerous elderly and mobility impaired residents, the shift commander immediately upgraded it to a 2-alarm response and requested all available ambulances. The members of Engine 2 were first on scene. They immediately made entry to attack the fire and conduct a primary search. Now, despite heavy black smoke limiting visibility, they quickly located and rescued a resident from the area of origin and transferred her to EMS care. The heavy smoke and toxic gas had already begun spreading throughout the structure, but these personnel were able to contain the fire and limit the damage. All told, 6 occupants were transported for medical care, but all of them survived and all the residents were back home within just 1 day. For their decisive early action that likely saved numerous lives, the Commonwealth presents these Framingham firefighters with a 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. Please welcome to the stage, Everett Captain James Lewis. On the morning of July 3rd, 2024, the Everett Fire Department responded to a fire at a triple-decker apartment building. DPW employees had spotted smoke while driving by and called 911. They even entered the building to try to help before being forced out by heavy smoke and fire. When Captain James Lewis arrived, the DPW workers were able to point to the 3rd floor where they knew that a resident was located. With thick smoke filling the building, Captain Lewis rushed inside. Hearing a child crying from above, he dropped to his hands and knees, navigated the stairwell, and located a 3-year-old girl. Disoriented in the smoke and heat, he called Mayday. But with the support of his crew, he was able to exit the building with that child. Both Captain Lewis and the child were transported to the hospital, both lucky to be alive. For his heroic rescue of a child in imminent danger, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Captain James Lewis with a 2025 Governor's Citation for meritorious conduct. Please welcome from the Lowell Fire Department, Lieutenant Michael Dexter, Temporary Officer Stephen Da Silva, Firefighter Oscar Jimenez, Firefighter Corey Nadeau. At about 4:30 in the morning on February 24th, the Lowell Fire Department responded to a central station alarm at a building in the downtown area. and upon arrival, they found no issue at the dispatched address. But they saw heavy black smoke coming from the commercial building next door. The smoke was so thick that it had set off the alarm in the adjacent property. The crew of Engine 4 quickly stretched the line to locate the seat of the fire. And in the early morning hours, at a closed commercial occupancy, Temporary Officer De Silva and Firefighter Nato had no reason to think that anybody would be inside that building. But the stakes were immediately raised when they discovered an unconscious woman on the floor amid high heat, zero visibility, and deteriorating conditions. They radioed to command that they were coming out with an injured patient and managed to extricate her from that building. The crew of Engine 1 sprang into action. They assessed the victim and found that she had no pulse and was not breathing. Lieutenant Dexter and Firefighter Jimenez immediately began several rounds of CPR with rescue breathing until paramedics took over patient care. And through those efforts, from the rapid entry, victim rescue, and life-saving measures, they saved that woman's life. For their quick thinking, rapid action, and teamwork, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is proud to present these members of the Lowell Fire Department with the 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. I call to the stage Pittsfield firefighter Clarence Gunn and firefighter Matthew Mazzeo. It's the morning of January 25th. Temperature at the time, -2. Pittsfield firefighters responding to a life-threatening emergency on Onoda Lake. A fisherman had fallen through the ice twice and was now in distress more than 100 yards from shore. When crews arrived, they saw two fishermen with one of the men in the water. Firefighters Gunn and Mazzeo suited up and advanced across the ice. As they reached the victim, the ice gave way, plunging all three into the freezing water. By this time, the fisherman in the water was nearly incapacitated from hypothermia. The rescuers' tethered line had become tangled when the ice sheet broke. They were moments away from tragedy, but in sub-zero conditions, with mobility limited by their cold water suits, they were able to untangle the lines, maneuver a rescue sled beneath the victim, and get him out of the water. Mutual Aid and the Berkshire County dive team met them and helped pull the sled through the slushy ice to safety. Now, during the rescue, firefighter Gunn's suit had failed, and he had the early onset of hypothermia himself, but he stayed with the victim until he was safely out of the water. Both had to be transported to Berkshire Medical Center, and they both made full recoveries. For their courage and teamwork under extreme conditions, the Commonwealth is pleased to present firefighter Clarence Gunn and firefighter Matthew Mazzeo with the 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. And yes, we love the support from the audience. You keep it coming. That's great. From the New Bedford Fire Department, I call to the stage Captain Michael Dillon, Lieutenant Kyle Martin, firefighter Paul Brito, firefighter Renald Russo III. On January 20th, New Bedford Fire Department responded to a multi-unit house fire. Firefighters arrived to find flames erupting from its first floor, extending to the second floor and through the roof. While many residents had managed to escape, two individuals were still trapped, one on the first floor, another on the second. Captain Dillon split his crew to launch a coordinated search and rescue operation. Firefighters Martin and Berto raised the ground ladder and successfully rescued a woman from the second floor. But she informed crews that another person remained inside. Their continued search confirmed that no other occupants were present. Meanwhile, Captain Dillon and firefighter Russo attempted to reach the first floor residence. They made 3 valiant attempts to reach the first floor, but were blocked by raging fire each time. Even supported by an attack line, the conditions were unattainable. Finally, after continued suppression operations, they located the man, sadly deceased. Other residents were transported to the hospital for smoke inhalation and other injuries. The home was declared a total loss. For their bravery, rapid action, and determination, the Commonwealth presents these members of the New Bedford Fire Department with a 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. Please welcome to the stage from the Fitchburg Fire Department, Lieutenant Paul Andrew Duquette, Firefighter Timothy Downey, Firefighter Skylar Kolowski, and Firefighter Nicholas Landry. Lieutenant Barry Hivernin, Firefighter Michael Castelli, and Firefighter Michael Pollack, also part of this incident but unable to join us today. On December 22nd, 2024, what began as a routine medical call in Fitchburg quickly turned into a life-threatening fire. Firefighter Timothy Downey heard the incoming 911 call and sensed something more. Trusting his instincts, he dispatched all units. The initial report was for a person having trouble breathing, and when crews arrived, they found heavy fire, thick smoke, and reports of people that were trapped inside. Without hesitation, before hand lines were even in place, Lieutenant Hivernin and Firefighter Kolowski entered the building, the burning building, by the way, and raced up to the 3rd floor above the fire. Inside, they found an elderly man conscious but disoriented, and they brought him to safety. Now, at the same time, Firefighter Michael Castelli spotted another resident at the 2nd floor window surrounded by smoke. He immediately notified Lieutenant Duquette and Firefighter Landry. They deployed a ground ladder to rescue the man successfully as Firefighter Castelli and Pollack secured water for extended suppression operations. 1 firefighter and 3 civilians were hospitalized for smoke inhalation, but all of them survived and made it to their families for Christmas. For their keen instinct, teamwork, and life-saving skills, the Commonwealth presents these members of the Fitchburg Fire Department with a 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. All right, a little love from my hometown of Yarmouth. I call to the stage Yarmouth Fire Lieutenant EMT Kevin Enright and Firefighter EMT Robert Crosby, Jr. On August 1st of 2024, at 1:49 a.m., Yarmouth Fire Department responded to a 911 call for the smell of smoke in a home. On arrival, crews found an active basement fire. This is when they also learned that the 911 caller was a young girl who had escaped that home through a bathroom window and gone to a neighbor for help. And that child believed that her mother was still inside the home. Lieutenant Enright and Firefighter Crosby forced entry and without the protection of hose line, started to search the smoke-filled home. They found that mother in a bedroom in cardiac arrest and were able to bring her outside and perform CPR until help arrived. The fire was brought under control in about 20 minutes. Both the child and mother were taken to the Cape Cod Hospital, with the mother in critical condition, and thankfully, both were released shortly after. In recognition of their life-saving actions, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Lieutenant EMT Kevin Enright and Firefighter EMT Robert Crosby, Jr. with a 2025 Governor's Citation for meritorious conduct. And for our next presentation, please welcome to the podium State Fire Marshal John Davin.
Thank you, Doug. I'd like to first call to the stage Chief Fire Warden David Salino of the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and some of the DCR wildland firefighters that have joined us today, including those of you in the audience, please.
Looking for the woods.
Beginning in October of 2024, Massachusetts confronted a wildfire season unlike any in modern history. Critical drought conditions, weeks of bright, warm, sunny days, high winds, and low humidity created a perfect storm of fire weather. Massachusetts usually sees about 35 wildland fires from October to November, and last year we saw nearly 700 fires, and they burned more than 4,000 acres in urban, suburban, and rural communities from the Berkshires to the Cape. No community was spared. Even in cities and towns without fires of their own, firefighters responded almost every day to support other communities near and far. I am deeply grateful to all the local firefighters who brought their fortitude, determination, and grit to the job during those grueling months last fall. But there was a key-wide state component to the response as well. And that was the men and women of the DCR Bureau of Forest Fire Control and Forestry. Early each morning for a month straight, Chief Salino led calls with fire service leadership, state agency heads, and other stakeholders. Chief Salino drew on decades of experience with wildland fire behavior, a deep understanding of climate and topography, and his personal observations at the scenes of these fires unfolding across the state. And he identified the locations to watch, the associated challenges, and the resources that could help, from National Guard water drops down to the humble leaf blowers we were using. Meanwhile, dozens of DCR wildland firefighters lent boots-on-the-ground assistance to local fire departments in every corner of the Commonwealth. They navigated heavy smoke, falling snag trees, and uneven terrain at every step. Seasonal personnel worked weeks past their expected end dates to deliver apparatus, dig containment lines, and help battle the flames that put more than 700 homes and other structures at risk. We couldn't possibly fit them all on stage, but the folks you see here today represent all 14 of the state's forest fire control districts. More than once, I heard fire chiefs with decades of experience say they'd rather enter a burning building than command operations at a wildfire, like we had last fall. And each one of them agreed that DCR's knowledge, guidance, and support were instrumental in that firefight. It is my privilege to present the Stephen D. Cohn Fire Marshal's Award to my good friend, Chief Fire Warden David Salino, and the DCR Bureau of Forest Fire Control and Forestry. Congratulations. From the Massachusetts Fire Academy, please welcome Assistant Coordinator David Ryan, Instructor Joel Abro, Instructor Benjamin Arnold, Instructor Jeff Cope, Instructor Jeremy Kupal. Instructor David DeMarco. Instructor Joseph DeSisto. Instructor Paul Andrew Duquette. Instructor Michael Dwyer. Instructor Jackson Lowbridge. Instructor Tony Marfangelli. Instructor Paul McPhail. Instructor Edward Morrissey III. Instructor James Pulio. Instructor Chris Stevens. Crib support staff Kevin Holstrom. Crib support staff Paul Pavone. And instructors Kevin Cronin and Andre Stearns, both unable to be here today. We're able to get everybody up here. The Massachusetts Firefighting Academy serves about 13,000 firefighters at every level of experience every year. The recruit training program is the largest and most complex program, delivered at 3 regional campuses across the state and providing foundational lessons that every new firefighter must master. The instructors who deliver this training and the crib staff who support it have years and decades as working as firefighters. There's no substitute for the level of knowledge and experience that these instructors and crib support staff bring to our fire academy. The Academy Stowe campus was busy on the morning of January 29th. It was training day 23 and burn day 2 for members of class number 328. At about 10 a.m., just after the first burn of the day, one of the recruits appeared to be in distress. In the span of just a few moments, he lost consciousness and went into cardiac arrest. Fortunately, the on-duty instructors and support staff immediately sprang into action. They quickly took his vitals and applied oxygen, a defibrillator, and CPR while calling 911. They got the recruit's pulse back, got him breathing on his own, and he was conscious and alert when he was transported with an instructor riding next to him in the ambulance. I'm very happy to report that he has made a full recovery. Medical emergencies are part and parcel of the firefighter's day-to-day work. But let's be honest, a crisis like this is different when the patient is someone entrusted to your care. Fortunately, as active duty and retired firefighters, they demonstrated the mental clarity and technical skills necessary for the urgent work at hand. I'll say it again, there is no substitute for the level of knowledge and experience that these instructors bring. Each and every one of these personnel played a key role in the chain of care that saved this recruit's life. I am deeply grateful to them for their rapid, professional, and ultimately life-saving work that morning. They represent the highest traditions of the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy, and it is my honor to present them with the Stephen D. Cohn Fire Marshal's Award. Congratulations.
Fire Marshal, thank you. Congratulations to all the recipients of the Fire Marshal Awards. Last fall's wildfires captivated headlines across the Commonwealth. It almost felt unreal at times, especially for those in the fight. But it was very real, and you faced danger head on protecting people, property, and our natural resources. And to the Fire Academy, your quick thinking and decisive action helped to save one of your own. And this is a powerful reminder to all of us that training does save lives. So now please welcome from the Marlborough Fire Department, Battalion Chief Brian LaCroix, Lieutenant Brian Leonard, Firefighter Donald Bardsley, Firefighter Adam Buckley, Firefighter Charles Butler, Firefighter Ralph Ketchapalia, Firefighter Steve Cavallo, Firefighter Michael Laporte, Firefighter Matthew Lupacella, Firefighter Shane Penny, Firefighter Colin Richardson, Firefighter Jacob Thompson, Firefighter Daniel Balavochin, and Lieutenant Jeffrey Casares was unable to be with us here today. Now, in the early morning hours of May 12th, the Marlborough Fire Department responded to multiple 911 calls reporting a house fire at a split-level ranch, and while en route, they learned that an elderly man was believed to be trapped inside the home. When they arrived, firefighters encountered heavy smoke and flames that had already torn through the structure. With the fire rapidly advancing, Battalion Chief LaCroix directed the crew of Engine 3 to make an aggressive interior attack through the front door, while members of Engine 1 established a water supply and Engine 2 prepared to assist with victim extrication. Please, excuse me. Now, firefighters Cachapalia and Lupacella from Rescue 1 arrived moments later. As flames tore through the home, they raised a ground ladder to a rear window and broke through to ventilate the room and gain entry. Firefighter Cachapalia, close to the bedroom door, isolated the area from the fire's spread, while Firefighter Lupacella began a right-hand search pattern, quickly locating an unconscious male victim in an adjacent bathroom. They moved the man to the window where Firefighter Lupacella exited and transitioned back to the ladder. He took the unconscious victim from Firefighter Cachapalia and carried him down to EMS personnel waiting below. As conditions intensified inside the home, Firefighter Cachapalia was able to escape just moments before the roof and rear wall collapsed. Firefighters and Patriot ambulance personnel were able to resuscitate the man at the scene, transport him to the hospital, but sadly he succumbed to his injuries. For their quick thinking and seamless teamwork, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is proud to present these members of the Marlborough Fire Department with a 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. And would Firefighter Ralph Cachapalia and Firefighter Matthew Lupacella please step forward? For their heroic rescue under life-threatening conditions, the Commonwealth is proud to present Firefighter Ralph Cachapalia and Firefighter Matthew Lupacella with the 2025 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. And if you think running into a burning building is scary, just try pronouncing Cachapalia and Lupacella as many times. Thank goodness, fellows. Thank you for your great work. I catch my breath after that one. All right. From the Rockland Fire Department, I call to the stage Firefighter Reed Broderick Firefighter Keo Costa, Firefighter Robert Creighton, Firefighter Thomas Henderson, Firefighter Liam O'Flaherty, and Firefighter Mac Oshry. Captain Jason Fricker is unable to join us here today. In the early morning hours of June 21st, 2024, the Rockland Fire Department was dispatched to a possible fire in a home with 2 elderly residents. Though no smoke was visible from the front, crews quickly discovered heavy fire and smoke engulfing the rear of that 2-story home. Captain Fricker declared a working fire and called for additional resources. Without hesitation and without the protection of hose line and only partially geared up, Firefighter Thomas Henderson quickly entered the smoke-filled home and located an older adult with limited mobility. Firefighter Henderson carried that man and his walker to safety, where that man revealed that his wife was still inside. Crews rushed back in to search. Captain Fricker entered the front room but was quickly disoriented by the heavy smoke and zero visibility and returned to the hose line. As additional units arrived and water supply was established, Chief Scott Duffy gathered information from bystanders and directed them towards the first-floor living room. Captain Fricker, Firefighter Creighton, and Firefighter O'Flaherty re-entered that home that was now filled with floor-to-ceiling black smoke and intense fire. During a rapid search, they located the woman and brought her out to safety, where firefighters Broderick and Oshry began life-saving measures before she was transported to the hospital. Tragically, she later succumbed to her injuries. But for their heroism and teamwork under extreme conditions, the Commonwealth is pleased to present members of the Rockland Fire Department with the 2025 Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. And will Firefighter Tom Henderson please step forward? For racing into danger, unprotected, to save a resident's life, the Commonwealth is proud to present Firefighter Tom Henderson with the 2025 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. Please welcome now to the stage the Fitchburg Fire Department. Deputy Chief Patrick Roy, or Roy, depending on whether or not you're a goalie. Captain Andrew Doherty, Lieutenant Francisco Robles, Firefighter Brendan Byrne, Firefighter Charles Colburn III, Firefighter Jeremy Kimber, Firefighter Trevor Lawler, Firefighter Jacob Morin, Firefighter Benjamin Nealon, Firefighter Justin Pike, Firefighter Jose Silva, and Firefighter Antonio Samilia. Lieutenant Kyle Forrest, Lieutenant Robert LaFleur, Firefighter Jeffrey Boudreau, and Firefighter Kenneth Helms were all unable to join us here today. It was just after 6 a.m. on May 26th. The Fitchburg Fire Department was dispatched to a reported structure fire. The building was an 8,000 square foot home built in the 1890s and divided up into apartments. Multiple 911 callers said there were residents trapped inside. The 9-unit building was also old and wood framed. It had no working smoke alarms or fire suppression systems. Arriving crews saw a heavy smoke billowing from the rear of the building, and at that early hour, on a Memorial Day weekend, with no alarms to waken them, not one single resident had made it outside yet. Engine 4 stretched the line that held the fire back for evacuations, allowing members of Ladder 2 to rescue residents from the upper floors. Engine companies continued to stretch lines into the structure to attack the seat of the fire and an extension on the 3rd floor, while also rescuing occupants from the building's interior. Now, during these fast-paced operations, Firefighter Samelia was alone on the ladder truck, positioning the aerial for deployment to the roof. As he looked up, he saw 2 adults and 2 young children in diapers stranded on the roof above the burning apartment. With heavy smoke and flames now pouring from the building, he positioned the ladder perfectly to ascend and grab the 2 children. After single-handedly bringing them down to the turntable, he immediately climbed up the ladder again without a hose line or SCBA to protect him above the fire. And as conditions deteriorated, he reached the 2 adults and helped them both down to safety. While the building was a total loss, firefighters got every one of the 14 residents out, and they got them out alive. The 4 occupants that firefighter Samelia rescued were transported for evaluation and released. For their teamwork, bravery, and decisive action, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is proud to present the members of Fitchburg Fire Department with the 2025 Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. And would firefighter Antonio Samelia please step forward? For his situational awareness and heroic determination to save 4 residents while disregarding his own safety, the Commonwealth presents firefighter Antonio Samelia with the 2025 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. And to a person, by the way, each one of them are humble heroes. I know they'd rather not be up here, but they deserve to be up here to be recognized for all that they've done. I call to the stage from the Fall River Fire Department, Captain Francis O'Regan, firefighter Andrew Cordero, and firefighter Michael Cusick. On the evening of June 7th, the Fall River Fire Department Heavy Rescue 1 responded as mutual aid to Portsmouth, Rhode Island, following a structural collapse at a function hall hosting about 75 high school graduates. When firefighters arrived, they learned that 2 teenagers were trapped beneath a huge concrete slab weighing about 2 tons. Working alongside Portsmouth Fire Department and other agencies, Captain O'Regan, firefighter Cordero, and firefighter Cusick assessed the scene and planned out a complex technical rescue operation. They deployed an array of specialized equipment, including airbags, cribbing, struts, spreaders, and stabilizing posts to secure the scene and begin extrication. The size and weight of that slab put every rescuer in harm's way that night, but there was no way around it. Working a structural collapse of that magnitude required risking life and limb. But thanks to their precision, teamwork, and experience with high-risk rescue environments, both victims were successfully extricated. Sadly, though, a 15-year-old girl succumbed to her injuries. A 17-year-old girl was transported to the hospital with serious injuries, but she survived, thanks in large part to that plan that was developed and executed by the crew of Heavy Rescue 1. In recognition of their teamwork and skill in the face of an extremely dangerous situation, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Captain Francis O'Regan, firefighter Andrew Cordero, and firefighter Michael Cusick with the 2025 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. From the Brockton Fire Department, please welcome Captain Daniel Foy, Firefighter Brian Feeney, Firefighter Mark Gagaudas, Firefighter Anthony Hardy, and Firefighter Sean McSheffrey. On the evening of March 20th, Brockton Fire Department responded to an early morning call for a two-story bungalow-style home on the outskirts of the city. Upon arrival, they saw heavy smoke pushing from the vacant building. Captain Daniel Foy directed Squad A to stretch a hose line into the vacant home while Ladder 1 forced entry through the front door. As firefighters made their way through the extreme clutter, high heat, and heavy smoke, Lieutenant Andrew Wysocki fell to the floor, fall away in the front of him, and plunged into the basement, only to realize that this was the seat of the fire. Despite the chaotic environment as the fire intensified, Lieutenant Wysocki and his rescuers kept their calm. Captain Foy immediately called a mayday, and without hesitation, he and firefighters Mark Gagaudas and Sean McSheffrey reached into that hole where Lieutenant Wysocki had fallen. Gripping his SCBA and turnout gear, they were able to pull him to safety by hand. While the rescue unfolded, firefighters Brian Feeney and Anthony Hardy held their ground, suppressing the fire and protecting their brother until he was out of harm's way. There is no call more chilling than a mayday. For their quick thinking, teamwork, and bravery, when every action and every second mattered, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is proud to present Captain Daniel Foy, Firefighter Brian Feeney, Firefighter Mark Gagaudas, and Firefighter Anthony Hardy, and Firefighter Sean McSheffrey with the 2025 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. And for our final award, please welcome from the Chelsea Fire Department, Firefighter Euclides Barahona. On Sunday morning, September 15th of 2024, the Chelsea Fire Department responded to a call at a fire at a 3-story apartment building on Congress Avenue. Neighbors had called 911 after waking to thick smoke filling their homes. Upon arrival, the incident was ordered to a second and then a third alarm, with heavy smoke and fire on the second floor and people trapped on the third. The fire had spread to a central air shaft and was venting through the roof. As companies attacked the fire inside, Firefighter Barona was on Tower 1 with a different task: to rescue 3 residents that were hanging out of the third-floor windows and desperate for help. These residents were cut off. The fire was closing in, and the windows were their only escape. But the windows were dangerously close to live power lines outside. Firefighter Barona faced a critical challenge. He knew that a single misstep could result in electrocution. With incredible skill and precision, Firefighter Barona successfully positioned the aerial between the wires and single-handedly helped all 3 residents onto Tower 1's platform. He brought them to safety on the ground, where they were transported to the hospital for smoke inhalation. More than a dozen people were displaced, but all were safe. For overcoming a tremendous risk through his training and skill, and for placing himself at extreme peril to rescue 3 Chelsea residents, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is proud to present Firefighter Euclides Barahona with the 2025 Medal of Valor. And for a small town, Chelsea always turns out. I'll give them that. Remarkably, there are so many more stories that weren't told today. But in each one of our communities, we know that these heroes show up at a moment's notice. So for all the firefighters out there this afternoon, we thank them for showing up when called. That does conclude this year's awards ceremony. To our recipients, thank you for your extraordinary actions, your unwavering commitment, and your service on behalf of the Commonwealth. Your courage is an inspiration to all of us, and we thank you. To the departments and the families of those standing behind these heroes, thank you for being here today, and for the strength and the support that you provide every single day. And as mentioned, to all our firefighters across Massachusetts, thank you for answering the call day after day, no matter the danger, no matter the hour. Your dedication is the backbone to our public safety, and we are forever grateful. Please stand as the Worcester Fire Department Honor Guard member, Captain David Anger, rings the fire bell in remembrance of all the firefighters who have passed away in the line of duty. Now, following the ringing of the bell and a moment of silence, the pipe and drum bands will play Amazing Grace, and Chief Fire Chaplain Bruce Arbor will lead us in the benediction.
We have heard the testimonies of courageous acts in extraordinary moments. But we leave this place to walk back into an ordinary day, where the men and women of fire service will continue to respond to those extraordinary moments of need in which life will be challenged, in which the needs of our community will be met. May we go from this place honoring those who continue to serve. May we go from this place holding dear in our hearts the memories of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And the peace be with those who continue to mourn them. As we go from this place, let us go remembering that there are men and women ready and actually answering the call as the bell sounds. May they go in peace. May the one who watches over us watch every step of their service. And may they return to their homes that will be filled with peace. In the holy name of the one who is our creator and sustainer, I offer this blessing. Amen.
Chaplain Arbor, thank you. Everyone who contributed to the success of this event, including Mass Property Insurance, National Grid, LW Billis and Company, and all the sponsors that make this event possible. And also thank you to Mechanics Hall for their generosity. On behalf of our Heroic Award Committee, join us immediately following the conclusion of this ceremony for reception on the second floor. This does conclude our program. Please remain in your seats until the stage participants have left. We wish you all a safe and blessed Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to go in and just make our way into the